Good evening. Welcome to the meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll have one of our former planning commissioners and former Marine, Bill.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Oh, yeah, sorry. Sorry, we had a game today. I'm kind of a little jittery. Okay, we have an invocation by Leanne Clark from the Twentynine Palms Ministerial Association.
Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time of coming together, gathering to make decisions for the city of Twentynine Palms. We thank you for the residents and everyone here this evening. We thank you for our city council, our city manager and staff. And we just again thank you for a blessed meeting, a fair meeting, and a productive meeting tonight. Father, we just again thank you for our military base, our businesses, our schools. We thank you for our families, our church, and our media that's here tonight, that's representing the information so that everyone can hear what it is that we are deciding at tonight's meeting. So again, we thank you, we praise you, and we just ask for your blessing to just shower our city and everyone here tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Leanne. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Bilderine.
Here.
Councilwoman Ramirez.
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott.
Here.
Mayor Mintz.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. These proceedings will be viewed on demand on the Twentynine Palms website at www.twentyninepalms.org. You may live stream this meeting going on the city website and clicking on the meeting and agenda link. Awards, presentations, appointments, and proclamations. Presentation of the Twentynine Palms High School tennis team. Picking up trash. Yeah, take them all. Just give them the right one, though.
So, on behalf of the city of Twentynine Palms and Vertec, we'd like to thank you guys for helping to keep the community clean and helping to beautify our community. Tell us a little bit about where you cleaned up at.
It was between Plain Vista and White Sands on Billy Road, that section right there.
Perfect, thank you. And would you ladies like to say anything? It's your moment.
Seven or eight bags. This year, I think was 17 during their season.
So we got one check from Vertec and one check from the city of Twentynine Palms.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
So if you all would stand up here as well, all together, and we can take a quick picture.
I'll be sure not to jump in front of anybody.
Thank you. And we have the Twentynine Palms Rotary Club for trash.
So on behalf of the city of Twentynine Palms and Vertec, we would like to thank you for helping to keep our community clean and going out there doing much needed work. Thank you so much for not just this, but everything the Rotary does.
And I really appreciate it. Now, the question that you have, we picked up behind 2 Mile, Circle K. We had about a truckload and a half.
A truckload.
Wow. And then between the Rotary members and the interactive students from over at the high school, there's probably about 10 or 15 of us.
Outstanding. Thank you. One check from the city, one check from Vertec.
Thank you much. I appreciate you.
All right. So we have a proclamation recognizing April 26th 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. Whereas the tragedy of child abuse and neglect affects every community in California and touches the lives of far too many citizens, regardless of cultural, ethnic, religious, or social economic level. Whereas early identification and intervention are essential to successfully interrupting the genital cycle of abuse and neglect. Collaboration among professionals, certain parents, volunteers, and policymakers can help reduce the level of child abuse and neglect in our communities. And whereas the observance of Child Abuse Prevention Month provides an excellent opportunity for all citizens to reflect on the tragic crime while rededicating themselves to taking an active role in child abuse prevention activities in their communities. Now, therefore, may resolved that the City Council of 29 Palms does hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month in the City of 29 Palms and encourage all citizens to join the local efforts, making sure that every child has the right to grow up in a stable, loving environment free from abuse and neglect. Dated this 14th day of April 2026. Okay. Is anybody from that organization here? Okay, and then our second proclamation for the month is recognizing April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas in the United States, April's Sexual Assault Awareness Month, SAMM, and the goal of SAM is to raise public awareness about sexual violence and educate communities on how to prevent it, calling attention to the fact that sexual harassment, assault, and abuse are widespread and impact every person in this community. And whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment harm our communities, and statistics show 1 in 4 women and 1 in 25 men will be sexually assaulted at some point in their lives. And whereas we recognize all those who work often as volunteers on behalf of the rape volunteers and their families, we recognize that many law enforcement officers, prosecutors, counselors, correction officers, physicians, and healthcare professionals whose dedicated and service help sexual assault victims. And now, therefore, it is resolved that the City Council of the City of 29 Palms does hereby proclaim April 2026 to be the Sexual Assault Awareness Month and recognize that we, the citizens of 29 Palms, have a stake in preventing sexual assault. And we will commit to ending the outrage of sexual assault by building a culture that has never tolerated sexual violence. Dated this 14th day of 2026. Is anybody here from that organization tonight? Okay. All right. All right. Council comments and reports of meetings attended. Councilmember Bellarmine.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, happy birthday to all the April birthdays. Mr. Mayor's birthday? 29 again, all right. Your story. I attended iFest and the concert. Once again, Park and Rec, I don't think, is Scott here? I saw him here. Park and Rec, outstanding job once again. Attended the Ace Hardware 5th year anniversary celebration and just had meetings and phone call meetings and some team meetings for with citizens about encampments, the homeless encampments, and VA healthcare and education hopefully coming to a city near us. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Ramirez.
I attended the San Bernardino County Office of Homeless Services East Valley Regional Steering Committee meeting. I also volunteered to be one of the HAP grant application reviewers, and we did make an award at the last meeting. I had a meeting with MUSD Superintendent Dr. Patricio Vargas to discuss equity and transportation in our school systems, and something that I will be representing at a state level next week when I go to Sacramento to rally for our area. I also had a meeting with senior leadership from Partners Against Violence. They raised that there is a call for action as the state legislator recently notified them that they may be receiving a 48% cut in funding. And a lot of people don't know that Partners Against Violence is the organization that represents San Bernardino County, helps some of our base, also East Riverside County as well. So that's monumental. Met with local business owners to discuss some challenges that they were facing with homeless encampments, robbery, and public safety. Meetings with constituents to discuss solar and other tax concerns. Cities, League of Cities. I attended the Desert Mountain Division meeting in Needles, and I also went to iFest. It was a good time. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I attended a base in transit meeting, and also, since the last meeting, not the one counting the special meeting, but, we did go to Redondo for the, basketball tournament, the All-Star tournament, and our kids, it was a level of competition that they've never seen, but I encourage Park and Rec to continue that, because I think it was great exposure for our kids. And our third and fourth grade boys, they went undefeated the entire All-Star season. They did not lose not one game. But the biggest thing that I got out of all of that was the fact that our kids, every last one of them, represented 29 Palms very well. And they left it all on the court. Not one of those kids ever gave up. Not one of those kids ever hung their head. They literally left it all on the court. And I knew I was going to get emotional, but I don't want to. But I am truly, truly 100% proud of the kids that we sent to these All-Star tournaments this year, and the coaches, because the coaches put their heart into it, and the kids put their heart into it, and I am 100% proud of all of them. I also attended the Good Friday service at the Gospel Fellowship, and the offerings received went to Reach Out Morongo, and I attended the sunrise service at Freedom Plaza, and that offering received went to Arch, and I'm pretty sure Leanne will give more details on all of that. And I attended the Easter service at the Gospel Fellowship, and I do want to wish everyone a happy birthday that has a birthday in April. It's a lot of names, so I'm not going to try to remember all of them, but everyone that has a birthday in April, happy birthday to you. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually attended the YMCA Service Member NCO of the Quarter luncheon at Copper Mountain College, where we recognized Sergeant Emmanuel Kine as NCO of the Quarter, as well as Lance Corporal David Perez as Service Member of the Quarter. They received a certificate from the City Council, as well as a challenge coin. I thought that was pretty cool. I attended iFest, and also attended the 50th anniversary of Ace Hardware. One thing I really appreciated about that, I got to speak with the owner of Ace Hardware, and ever since they did their remodel over there, they have doubled the size of their staff, including hiring high school students. And so I just want to recognize them as a business that is important, as a lot of our businesses are in this community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I also attended the Basin Transit, local Basin Transit meeting. I also attended the Chuck Kaplinger, honoring him, his plaque at, yes, there was some of us there. You guys forgot to say that. I also attended the SBTCA meeting in San Bernardino. And then we had the city cleanup. That was April 4th. I don't know if anybody has any tonnage, but when I was there at 7 o'clock, the line was already long, and there was still plenty. There was lots of people dumping trash, so that's a good thing. We always want that to go good. Went to the free concert day, the first one, and it was well attended. And the folks that are running that, they want to try to get 1,000 people in there, so it was well attended. So that's a good start for them. And then. Reason I'm a little frazzled, I just got done with a softball game at 10 minutes after 5, and we won 19-9, so I'm a little, gotta switch gears here, so anyway. Okay, thank you, that's it. All right, so consent calendar, all matters listed on the consent calendar will be considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the city council. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on consent calendar items prior to the city council action. Anybody want to pull any items from the consent calendar? None? Okay. Anybody from the public want to make a comment about the consent calendar? Okay, hang on, city clerk's looking. Okay. Carlos, you want You had your slip in for? 12. Well, you said you wanted to speak in favor of agenda item 4 through 12. Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. You're just, okay. Okay. All right. So you just want to do 12 through 13. Okay. 12 through 13. Okay, thank you, Carlos. Okay, we'll bring it back up here. Before I look for motion, I will be abstaining for number 8. That's the downtown septic system management renewal contract. That's obviously in Freedom Plaza, and obviously I have a conflict of interest. My wife owns a business there. So, other than that, looking for a motion.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none?
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Buildering,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz.
Aye, except I abstain from number 8.
Approved 5-0.
Okay. Discussion of potential action items. City Council Chambers audio and video upgrade for SB 707. Looks like Eli is entering the room.
Good evening. So I'll be as quick as I can here and not very technical if I can. Senate Bill 707 goes into effect in July 1. We have to have this in place. This is a small component of it, expanded the Brown Act pretty broadly. But what we have to do now is update this space. And unfortunately, my first job here in 2007 was this space, putting a projector in and a screen. We have spent less in the 19 years than we're going to spend on this single upgrade combined. So this component is equipment to allow us to use video encoding over IP and audio that's over a new codec Dante, going digital instead of analog in essence, giving us more control over that audio and where we send it. And then I'll be in the room starting now. You'll get to see me every meeting. It's exciting. I'll be sitting back over there so that remote participants can come in. We're still going through testing of that. I mean, I'm about 100 hours into this testing. This vendor, these two vendors brought equipment out here and did a live demonstration in place because I was a little leery of spending this kind of money at once. So we have tested all of this in this space. It works simply and flawlessly. I know staff, the clerks has been working with the lawyers on a policy. There's going to be a lot of policy changes that come as well. That'll come later. But what I'm asking here is for you guys to approve the purchase from this vendor, Rat Sound System, which isn't a vendor known to us. So just give a little background on that is when you get into the enterprise grade components, there's different levels for different vendors and different certifications they need. This was a single vendor near us that could provide both products, maintain the warranty that comes with the products, which on the Sure products is 5 years. On the AV Pro, it's 10 years advanced replacement on all the equipment. So we cannot have a lot of costs coming down the road. And they're allowed to sell to commercial entities, which were considered. So that's why I selected them. That's why there's a sole source. That's why I'm asking for the deviation from our standard procurement, where we would usually issue a PO after you issue the award. When we receive the items, we would then send them payment. We don't have an established relationship. They don't want to extend terms at this time. I think my understanding is they are the sound system for Coachella, that main stage and a couple of the other stages. So they're stretched out and they don't want to take on more debt at this time. So they're willing to make this deal with us, give us the discount, provide back-end support as an as-need basis. And by buying through them, Gear Tech, who helped us with all of this for free, gets paid from the manufacturers and is willing to also provide free support as I'm deploying all of this equipment. So we don't have any additional costs with that. Mike from AV Pro said he would come down here and provide us in-person training to our staff on all of their equipment at no additional cost, saving us about $4,000 for their training package. So, I looked at other cities just for reference. Cathedral City spent $329,000 doing this to their council chamber. Palm Desert's at about $186,000 so far. It looks like they're doing another $80,000 upgrade. All in, we're gonna stay under that $43,000 mark of our funds. So if you got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
No, we don't have a whole lot of choice in this because it's another mandate from the state, so. Anybody have questions for Eli? Did we get any slips for that? So no, oh, we got a slip for this? Public comment? Okay, I'll open the public comment. Yeah, just stay there in case you might have to answer.
Good evening, Council. I'm really excited about this. I know this feels like it's kind of being forced to you, but it's time. As we said, it's been a lot of years to upgrade, and I think Eli's done an amazing job coming up with a budgeted plan to do so. So I would encourage you to accept this as presented from staff. One other little tidbit I'd like to throw in, assuming that this gets approved, which that's up to you, but whatever the process is when we move forward with this new SB bill, is before staff puts a bunch of time into building policy on how we're going to implement it, to perhaps take some public comment or think about the other arms of our government. The way that I read this is anybody that falls under the Brown Act is, subject to do this. Now, if that's in question from our city attorneys, or I realize it might take some staff to be around for that. Maybe there's some place in the middle. Where I'm getting at with that is we have arms within our government here that is not getting much representation, specifically the PAC and the TBIT. So having recorded live available for people who are children, working, mobility issues, something of that nature where they're unable to attend some of these meetings that might be at like 3 o'clock or 3:30 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, gives them an opportunity to be part of the process. Better yet would be is if they could actually speak real time with public comment. But at a minimum, have that camera on for all arms of our government would be my recommendation for staff policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's the only slip we got. Okay. Bring it back to council, close the public hearing. Any more questions or comments? Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase from Rat Sound System in the amount of $21,483.92 for the upgrades to the council chambers as a result of SB 707, and authorize staff to pay at the time of order.
Second.
Okay, got a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Buildering,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, number 10, consideration resolution number 8760, approving the Measure I continuation expenditure plan developed by the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, SBTCA.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you for this. We've actually got a professional on the line from the Transit Authority, Otis Greer. I'm going to work on patching him in a minute. He is going to remote in. But this item is an important one. This city, like many cities, rely on Measure I funds for some very important additions or contributions to the community. Really, Measure I is focused on local mobility. It also touches on regional mobility. And then, of course, it also supports the transportation system, Morongo Basin Transit. And so, without further ado, I'm going to work on getting Mr. Greer to be able to present to the council. Mr. Greer, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, Don.
Hey, perfect. Great. So, you should be able to take it away and pull up the presentation.
Is there a presentation currently before the council? I'm unable to see that.
Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to pull this up, and we are going to see if we can share our screen.
That would be great.
Otis, you got this memorized. Just go for it. It's Mayor Mintz. You've done this 20 times already.
Okay, perfect.
Oh,
Otis,
that's
can you see this?
fantastic. Thank
Great.
you so much. Yep, I can see it great. Thank you so much. Stone, thank you, and thank you, members of the council, for giving me a few moments to chat with you about the upcoming conversation and renewal of Measure I, the 3.0 version, and certainly like to give a special thanks to our board member, Mr. Mintz, who's been a wonderful representative of the city and his help in supporting all the work that we do here at SBCTA. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Otis.
So the measure began in 1990. That was the first year it was passed. It was passed in 1989 by an overwhelming majority of residents who understood the need for transportation improvements. During that time, we had major improvements such as the 210 freeway extension here in the valley, as well as Metrolink and other major highway improvements. The voters were so pleased with it that in 2010, we went back to them and said we'd like to extend this for another 30 years. And so it passed in 2004. That measure began in 2010, and that's the current measure that we operate under. And it is responsible for providing a whole host of different projects throughout the county. It's been very successful. Next slide, please. So to give you a brief idea about where we've been so far, we began this conversation actually several years ago with the board, talking about the idea of renewing and extending this measure to continue the good work that's being done. Last year, we began working with an ad hoc committee, did some public outreach. After the public outreach, we identified through our work with the cities, city councils, and their teams, projects that we thought would be important for each of those respective regions. This should be something that's reflective of the needs of your community. Did some polling on that and found that we received very favorable results. So the board asked us to go out, do some additional work, and we came back with a draft of an ordinance and expenditure plan, which is currently being reviewed and approved by all of the member agencies, the jurisdictions, and that's what's before you today. Next slide, please. What you see before you here is an example of the Measure I expenditure plan. This is an example of what was happening in the valley. The valley looked very different from the mountain desert region. It had up to 8 programs that needed to be administered. We're going to reduce that down to 3, give the board more flexibility and the opportunity to address the needs of 2050, of 2060 in the future that we really don't have the ability to identify today with technology changing as it is. Next slide, please. This slide is more reflective of what you all see, and that is the Mountain Desert Victor Valley region. Previously, it was about 67%, 25% for for major highways. That's the regional projects that SBCTA manages, as well as your transit and senior disabled services. To the right is the proposed expenditure plan, 70% for local mobility, 10% for operations. That's all of your transit services combined into one. And then 20% for regional mobility. Those are those projects that SBCTA will help lead as they assist with the priorities of the city. Next slide, please. So when we look at what's happened here, some of the projects that have been accomplished and important projects that were identified here in the city, projects like Lear Avenue, Mesquite Springs Road, Smith Ranch Road, Utah Trail, as well as the Baseline Road. We hope that those are just examples of the kinds of projects that we believe are important to the region. We're also doing some major studies to look at a bypass that we believe will help some of the traffic flow in the event of some kind of a catastrophic event, which will provide additional improvements to 62, 247, all of those highways that come through your region. It's also important, well, I'll get to the upcoming measure, next slide, and I'll share with you some of the things that we think are going to be important. So what we'll keep in place with the ordinance of the future is the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee, which is the oversight that looks at making sure that our funds are spent in accordance with what was promised to the voters. 1% of the measure will be administrative overhead. Transportation funds will not be supplanted from local streets and roads. Private developments, we want to make sure that they keep skin in the game, and Measure I will continue to be regionally allocated based on a return to source model. Next slide, please. What the recommended ordinances, this is the one thing that I want to share that I think will be important to you. Previously, in our measure, we had 3% of the Victor Valley and San Bernardino Valley dollars that went to address concerns of the Cajon Pass specifically. But we heard from members in the Morongo Basin, we heard from members in the mountain area about concerns that tourism and interregional travel have had on their jurisdiction that they haven't been able to overcome. And so this new expenditure plan will create an interregional mobility plan that'll take 3% off the top of the total measure and make funds available to regions like the Morongo Basin and in the mountains to help address some of those impacts that are caused by the tourism that is so important to our region. And you all having such an amazing park right next door and the Marine base as well. We believe that there's some things that certainly need to be addressed for you there. The ITOC will create a little more flexibility, simplify the expenditure plan. We will do 5% reserve for ATP projects, sidewalks, bike lanes, things of that sort, and the extension of the measure will be until ended by voters. Next slide, please. So the road to finish this up, we are completing the approval by the member agencies. We'll do some polling here toward the end of this month. We will have the first reading of the ordinance in accordance with PUC law. We'll have a first reading of the ordinance in accordance with PUC law, and then the ad hoc committee will do a review of the ordinance, of the polling data, to make a final recommendation, and then the board will look to adopt the expenditure plan and ordinance in June, and then recommend that the Board of Supervisors place it on the ballot for the November election. And that is about what I have to offer, and I'm happy to take any questions that the council may have.
Any questions from council? Yeah, okay. Anybody from the public got a comment? Anyone? Okay. Okay, come on up. Notice we have a comment from the public.
Hi, Carlos Blanton. You said an ad hoc committee. You just want to know how the county selects that ad hoc committee, and who are they? Are they public members, or is it public servants or already employees?
So, Otis, did you hear that question from Mr. Blandon?
I think I heard who composes the ad hoc committee.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah, the ad hoc committee is composed of members of the board. They were appointed by President Rick Dennison, who selected members of the board representing different geographic areas within the county. And that group of board members reviewed the data and reviewed polling data, looked at the ordinance expenditure plan, and those are the recommendations that they made to the board, which are now being made to the jurisdictions.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, bring it back up to council. Okay. You have any more questions for Otis?
Nope.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Otis.
Sandy, do we have a resolution
My
number?
pleasure. Thank you so much.
I'd like to make a motion that the city adopt resolution, I'm sorry, say it again? 2608, approving the Measure I continuation expenditure plan developed by the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilmember Bildering,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Otis.
Thank you, Council. Thank you.
See ya. Consideration of joint powers agreement, participation in the San Bernardino Regional Housing Trust.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just get my PowerPoint up. Thank you for the opportunity to present on this. So this is a regional opportunity for us as a city and more broadly, us as a region, to increase the resources that come into both the region and, of course, the various cities for subsidized housing. And so when we take a look at this idea of a JPA, there are other areas. San Diego has got a JPA, San Gabriel Valley has a JPA. And what these joint power authorities have done is they've brought the cities together, and it has increased the size or the weight of their voice when they go up to the state and potentially even the federal government to attract funds and programs for affordable housing. And so if you take a look at this slide, here are some of the ideas, some of the motivations behind pursuing this joint powers authority. New construction of affordable and workforce housing, affordable housing presentation or preservation or rehabilitation, financing for the purchase of land, transitional and supportive housing, pre-development loans, down payment assistance, and community land trusts. So when someone from the community asks, well, what are the benefits? And so there's a number of benefits. Here we've got a slide that really kind of details that. First one would be flexible source of gap financing. And in a subsequent slide, I'll walk you through what that gap financing is. The ability to compete for state funds, talked about that just a moment ago, increasing the size and weight of our voice. A targeted solution for regional issues. So workforce housing, less of an issue here, more of an issue west of us, but still an important issue. And also the ability to pool resources. This is definitely an important item, especially in cities that are smaller in size, and they may not have even a department for affordable housing, let alone multiple people in that department. So here are some of the visions and the goals that they have established for this JPA. I'll go ahead and read this for the folks at home. And that is to attract significant funding and affordable housing development interest into the San Bernardino region. So that's going to look like a couple of different things. That's going to talk about attracting affordable housing developers to increase or preserve the region's affordable housing supply, increase equitable access to community resources, provide financial relief for vulnerable and cost-burdened households, and protect against displacement and poor housing conditions. So there's just maybe the top two here. The number of affordable housing developers, there's not a lot. It's a pretty difficult game. Generally speaking, the affordable housing developers, oftentimes, they have to be affordable housing developers and property managers. Because really, the affordable housing can break down into two components, and that would be for sale or for rent. If it's for sale, there's typically a deed restriction. I want to say it's for 45 years. If it's for rent, the deed restriction is going to be 55 years. And so with that in mind, when you've got the second bullet point of increasing or preserving the region's affordable housing supply, think what the challenge it would be for a community if you had a project that had been deemed affordable and that covenant expired. Then the owner of that project would then be able to sell it at market rate. And so the preservation is also an important item. So here are some slides that I think that we can gloss over just in the interest of time. It just really talks about the need. I think the folks here in the audience and certainly the council, they understand the need. So this slide is a pretty good picture, and that really talks more broadly about RHNA. So RHNA is the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, and that is a number that is identified by SCAG, which is the Southern California Association of Governments, and that they identify an HCD. They identify and then allocate the levels of affordability and the number of homes that cities throughout California will need to develop in order to meet what they believe, HCD and SCAG believe, are going to be those subsidized housing needs in years to come. One of the big challenges that this council and really all of the councils have experienced is the RENA numbers go up, but unfortunately, with the RDA being dissolved in 2012, the general bucket of money cities used to have to build affordable housing has disappeared. And so really it's going to be the wealthier cities that have the disposable income in order to subsidize the affordable housing or subsidize the subsidized housing. Really, it's the same thing. They are able to be successful, but smaller cities, cities with a lower budget, really struggle. And they also struggle if the land value is low. But that's something we can get into. So, well, what type of costs are we talking about? Would it cost $250,000 or $300,000 to build a house? I bet if we were to go out right now and find a builder, we could probably find a private builder that might be able to build a house for as little as $350,000, $400,000, maybe even $425,000, including the land. Unfortunately, with affordable housing, or really subsidized housing, and for the folks in the audience, affordable housing is a term where really what it refers to is it's deed restricted, and only individuals of certain income levels can live in that home. And it has to be deed restricted, like I mentioned, for a period of time, 45 years or 55 years. And so the word affordable, if there's 50 people in the room, we probably have 60 definitions of what affordable is to each of us. But when we say affordable in the state of California, what we're really meaning is subsidized housing, because the rents or the sales price of the house, recognizing that it is sold to lower income individuals, those individuals cannot pay for the cost of that housing. And so it has to be subsidized. It has to be subsidized by government. And so when we take a look at this, generally speaking, in San Bernardino County, it costs $596,000 to build one affordable housing or one subsidized housing unit. I imagine that is attached. I don't think that's a detached house. And so really when you're talking about a typical project, you're looking at easily $50 million to build a subsidized housing project. So what that generally means for the local government, for a city like us, we would have to contribute $8.8 million or more just for that one project. So it's very expensive, and that hopefully will help the community understand why this city and so many other cities in California have not built more affordable or subsidized housing. So we talked about one of the things that this JPA can do is provide gap financing. So here are two models. And so if you had a private developer, that private developer would go out and he would have, they typically call it friends and family capital. They may get some additional capital called mezzanine debt, and then they would get structured debt from a bank. And that's going to be generally speaking, the cheapest capital. If you're building affordable or subsidized housing, that's a lot more difficult. And ultimately, there was a project in the Coachella Valley that was done probably 4 years ago, and I want to say there was 9 different sources of capital that needed to be contributed in order to make that project financeable, and that was feasible. It's still like a $32 million project. So the city gave them the land, city gave them $1 million, and then they had to have 8 other sources of capital in order to get enough money for the builder to build it. And so this JPA, the formation of this JPA, one of the ultimate goals is to help develop a organization, an entity that would be able to step in and help with this gap financing. So steps taken to date, they've done a lot of things. They are making progress. Don't know that we need to get in the weeds on this. They're putting a lot of thought into this because they believe that there's going to be money coming down from the state, or more money coming down from the state. And so the opportunity is to stand up this JPA so that they can not only advocate proactively, but then also when the money becomes available, they're there to react. Basic timeline. Some of the operating structures, not necessarily too critical to this discussion, the authority of how they can do this. This was something that I thought was important, and that was that there would be one elected official per jurisdiction. So if this city chose to be a part of the JPA, then there would be, the mayor would need to identify one individual within the city this council in order to be on that larger JPA board, and that would ensure that our city has a voice at the overall JPA meetings. So we've talked about funding sources, identifying funding sources, how to do the financing, and then ultimately the housing activities. Really, this was why the affordable housing project that's just west of City Hall was not able to get off the ground, was it lacked the funds. So here's just kind of a broad overview of some of the different funding sources that they want to start trying to pursue. Here's an example of some of the other JPAs that we had talked about: San Gabriel Valley, Burbank, Glendale, Pasadena, Lift to Rise. They've been successful, and so those are some of the funds that they have been able to get because the fact that they had that JPA, they had that collective voice. Here is their kind of their near-term strategy on how to try to attract some funding, and their long-term strategy. And then, of course, what is it going to cost to be a part of this? So here is their first-year annual cost of $296,000. They anticipate that's going to go up to $390,000. And then ultimately, the 3-year plus full-year annual cost is going to be just about $500,000. And that would be divided by the number of cities that have decided to join. And so right now, I want to say virtually all of the cities, or nearly all of the cities in the county, have said that they want to be a part of this. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
How many is all the cities?
So excuse me, 15. So here's the cost allocation that they, you know, and actually, you actually had a slide on that. That was at the end, if I was not. So right now, so the 472,000, and then the number of agencies that are committed as of today, and that's 14 agencies, 14 cities. And then due to the fact that 14 have decided to join, that they're anticipating the annual cost per city would be $25,000 to $40,000 per city to be a part of that JPA.
Well, hopefully more cities will join, because then that get the price down. But right now, the Regional Housing Trust, they the REAP allocation right now, Ontario is in line for 1.75, and 29 Palms is in line for a $1.75 million grant. Pilot project awarded to us if we get into this. The only thing is, we have to have this done. We have to have it ready for construction in 7 months, and then we have 5 years to build it. So that's the well, it says the project needs to be ready to go to construction in the next 7 months. So it just has to be, the funds must be expended within 5 years of allocation. So we have to have the project ready to go in 7 months by the end of December. So that's that is, and we saw what happened next door here. We gave those guys, took almost 5 years, and they finally just couldn't get enough funds. So that's a pretty tall order for us to do that, to do this. So, but as far as us joining this, then that's, it sounds like it's going to be probably $30,000. I can't believe the first year. It says low is 10,000, high is 30. So we're looking at least $30,000.
And Mayor, one of the things that I asked the representative that I've been interacting with is are we able to take that 1.75 million that has been awarded to the city, and could we buy an existing asset, do whatever improvements we need to do to that asset, deed restrict it, so that then we've got a project.
Mhm.
We could implement those, we could utilize that 1.75. That individual is going to ask, kind of push that up the chain of command, I would imagine, by virtue of that slideshow that I showed you in terms of rehabilitation and all of that. I would imagine that that's something that they would be open to. And so, but I don't have that, I have not yet received that response.
Yeah, they're going to meet on May 13th to accept the implementation of the funds. So, so that's, I'm just, it's something that could happen, because if we do find there are existing projects out there right now that we could take, just like we just did with the other project with the veterans. But that costs a little bit more than we thought, but everything costs more than we thought. So that's just to make sure we understand that if we accept it, that we have to work hard to get it done. But do we want to spend up to $30,000 the first year it's a pilot program. It's not, I don't think it's a gamble. I just think it's, obviously it's something that it could go a long ways, or it could not. So it's kind of up to us. So if we want to hook up with them. Now, all the other JPAs have obviously worked out. The one that Mac's on with the trash, they do. And one of the things they also do is, we got a re-education about it, Mac and I did, is actually what that agency does to do a lot of numbers that the city would have to do. They'd almost have to hire somebody to do what that JPA does. SPTCA is the same thing. With the money we get from the roads, we'd almost have to hire somebody just to figure out how to spend the government money. So they would actually do that for us, as far as they would be the lead agency to make sure we spend the money the right way. So it's not a gamble in any ways.
Yeah, Mayor, you're correct. As an organization, there are a few departments that have significant need, for additional personnel, and having, bringing someone on in order to work on subsidized housing on either a full-time or a part-time basis is not feasible, given the size of the need in other departments like Public Works.
Exactly. So
I have a question. Do you still need to open it to the public, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll wait actually until the public has completed with their comments, if they have any.
Okay. Any other questions for the council, real quick? Okay. I'm going to open this up to the public. Do we have any slips, Cindy? No slips? Okay. I seen somebody's hand. You have to fill out a slip later. Come on up. Yeah. Please make sure you fill out one of the slips for us. Thank you.
Hi, what exactly is this?
Oh, you have to state your name.
thing?
And
Oh, Philo Tuatasi Pono. What exactly, you give the money to a builder, they build housing, and then you give it to the poor? What? I mean, what is this whole thing? How does it
go ahead,
work?
explain that a little bit more.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the question. So what this is doing is, this is a county level program where the San Bernardino County is going to create essentially an organization. It's called a JPA, Joint Powers Authority, and it is going to have a member from every city in the county that wants to be a part of this organization, this JPA.
It is sort of like unions?
And what the JPA does is the JPA, this Joint Powers Authority, this organization, is going to sit down and it's going to look at the problem of how do you build more subsidized housing? How do you build more affordable housing? And so they're going to look for builders that may want to come in San Bernardino. They're going to look at maybe banks that would be willing to lend in San Bernardino. They're going to work with elected officials all throughout the state level to try to get them to advocate for more money to come to San Bernardino County. And they're going to, when problems come up or hurdles come up, maybe they'll even look for land that they can acquire in order to have and create this program so that then when cities want to build affordable housing, they can go to this organization, this JPA, and say, hey, we would like to build affordable housing, and the JPA can help them out and do that.
So
where's all that money coming from? Is that the taxpayers' money?
So, well, I mean, I think in all cases, it ultimately all comes from taxpayers, but what it would do is this organization, because currently right now, you've got every city in the county, they're trying to do their own work to get affordable housing. And there are some cities that may have a department and have 3 or 4 people that work on this, and there may be cities like us who have no one that's dedicated on it, and maybe you've got a city manager and a community development director that work on it 5% of the time.
Are we in desperate need for housing here, like in
Yeah, all of
29 Palms?
California.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you so when you take a look at, so there was this slide here that talked about regional housing needs assessment numbers, and that slide. So what this is this is an allocation when they take a look at. So we've got numbers that we need to hit for. I want to say it's 5 different criteria. It's extremely low income, it's very low income, it's low income, it's moderate income, and it's above moderate. And that's a percentage, and it's technical, and I'd be happy to sit with you sometime and explain it to you. You really need a piece of paper and a little graph. And so there is a need. And so this JPA would help us and really in the overall region try to attract more affordable housing, because affordable housing is difficult to build. You don't see a lot of new home communities, so there's really, I feel there's 3 types of housing that one could build.
Have we looked at local builders, realtors, our local businesses
So
to do what the JPA is going to get paid for?
it is not feasible. It is, yes, the answer is yes. And the challenge is that there's a lot of people that would like to build affordable housing, but when they start to really understand the significant financial burden of building affordable housing, that's why there's so few builders that can build affordable housing.
Can we like open the 1.7 million and offer it to the locals? And
So-
then they can apply for it.
So
And then
we did previously, and the project, so we had a project to the west. Is this okay that I'm having this conversation?
I think we were just she's getting it mixed up.
Yeah, it's actually, and she's gone beyond her 3 minutes.
Well beyond
Yeah,
that.
yeah, so, okay. But you can, but those are great questions.
I can expand on this if you'd like.
Sure, go ahead.
And talk to, so, okay, so let me just, may I expand on
Yes,
that?
go.
Okay. So a great example of the council's commitment to building affordable housing can be seen in their efforts to construct a little attached project, multifamily project, about 100 feet to the west of us. City council's got this 2.5 acre parcel. The city has this 2.5 acre parcel, and they identified a builder who specializes in building affordable housing. And so they entered into a purchase and sale agreement, or an agreement with that builder, to say, hey, why don't you come in and design a project? We're going to give you $1.3 million. We're going to give you the land. We're going to help you through the entitlement and the design process to design a project. And then if you can go out and get the financing, we're going to give you all of that in order for you to build that project. And so the city wanted to support them. They gave them the land. They allocated $1.3 million that would have to go to affordable housing to that project to help offset those costs. I imagine that they were willing to provide this $1.75 million to that project in order to help that developer build that project. But if you can, as you can see by this slide, if it costs almost $600,000 for one unit, and they wanted to build, Keith, was it 82 units? How much money would that have cost that individual? $48 million, and we're giving them the land, and we're giving them $1.3 million, and we were going to allocate the $1.75 million. And so what that developer does is he will then he designed the project, which he did. He got it approved by the city, which he did. So he had a valid project, and then he takes that and he applies to the state for tax credits. We won't get into that because that's just nauseatingly complex. But in order to finance the project, the challenge is tax credits are very competitive. And so he is competing against affordable housing projects, not in 29 Palms, not in the Basin, but in all of Southern California. And so when you take a look at the true need for affordable housing, let's go to Pasadena, where I know a gentleman who was renting out a 400 square foot garage illegally for $2,800 a month. And so the point is that City Council did everything possible to facilitate the construction of that affordable housing project, but it's so difficult. So that's why, in an effort to hit these regional housing needs assessment numbers that are pushed down to us by the state, having this JPA, at least it's a possibility. It opens the door to having more of a voice. So it's not Keith spending 5% of his time, me spending 5% of my time to try to do this. Our region, our county, now has a voice to try to lobby and get more of it. Does that help?
That helps, yes. Sure.
At the Desert Mountain Division meeting, which is Cal Cities, League of Cities, it's where all the local electeds come together. One of the things that we discussed last week on Friday, and this is just local leaders talking, you know, these mandates from the state, they were good in theory, but it was really difficult for small cities, especially like us, to get that capital and then to get going within a certain timeline, because you got to look at entitlements. And I wrote down some of my notes that a very good friend of mine, Mayor Joe Ramos from the city of Adelanto, because I asked them why did you guys join? You know, I wanted to hear their perspective. I also spoke with Mayor Tran from San Bernardino City and former council member Barrios from San Bernardino City, which they recently have had quite a few housing projects go up. And the best way to put it was, we're doing all we can and we're coming together. That's what the JPA is showing. We're showing the state, because the state hasn't, at least to my knowledge, hasn't really said on this date, this is the consequence for hitting these RHNA numbers. They just said, if you don't hit these numbers, there's going to be a consequence, and we're going to go after the little guys first because it should have been easier for you. So us coming together for the JPA, all the cities in the county shows, hey, this goal was unrealistic. None of us are going to hit the mark, but we're going to do everything that we can, including come together to open that door, create that pathway. And as Mayor Joe Ramos from the city of Adelanto said, April, the easiest way to put this to you is none of us are as smart as all of us. And that was something that really resonated with me, because I said, okay, well, if you take a little bit from here and a little bit from here and see what's working or what's not working, then we're spending less time figuring that out, and we're putting it all together. And then regionally and countywide, we're saying, okay, but this is the best, recipe for moving forward. And that's really something that I took away from this meeting last week on Friday. So I hope that helps.
Okay, we had a couple other hands up, so, okay, come on up. Make sure you fill out your slip, state your name, and fill out your slip.
Good evening, I'm Scott Curry. I'm a real estate broker, and no, we can't do the job that this company could. I would be in firm support of spending $30,000 for the city. I think it's a wonderful idea with one of you on the board. It gives us access to just a great number of people, contacts with builders, credibility. It's just no way to pass it. We've kind of failed at housing because of the cost. Our interest rates are 6.5%, pushing a little higher than that some days. It's not going to go much farther down. We're not going to go back to 3%. Our home prices have stayed pretty firm. The sweet spot in 29 Palms is $250 to $350. As Stone said, a new home costs $450 to build 1,500 square feet. We don't have general contractors in the area. If we build houses, we have to bring them in, house them, feed them. So that's not going to change quickly either. A couple of reasons costs are affordable. It's kind of, I've done over 20 years of affordable housing. It's probably never affordable how people want to think as affordable housing. Right now, a $300,000 house is close to $3,000 a month with no money down. That's your actual housing cost by the time you pay everything. So a lot of people just simply can't afford that. Couple things with 29 Palms I want to clarify. Hooking up a water meter, the quote is $7,000 is not actually correct, because to build a house in 29 Palms, we need fire sprinklers, we need a 1-inch line. It's almost $14,000 just for the water meter hookup. We have to have fire sprinklers, about $17,000 for 1,500 square feet for fire sprinklers. We have to have solar, California law, about $17,000 for a small solar system. So there's not too many areas we can cut. The city could come up and said, okay, we don't have money, but we could possibly cut down on the fees, but then we need money to generate. We don't have new structure coming in to generate money for the city. So when we do get a good project coming into 29 Palms, please encourage them. Somebody shouted out Ace Hardware, beautiful store, beautiful remodel. And even if it's only 4 or 5 people they employ more than they did, that's what we need. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Bill, you had a comment?
Yeah, I do, thank you. I appreciate explaining the affordability, because we all know it's really not affordable. $600,000 is not affordable for one unit. And quite frankly, as a taxpayer, we need to find a better way to explain it to the taxpayers, because they're going to pay this. And I don't know what way that is, but it's just not affordable. What really caught my attention was that slide up there when I seen executive director. Did I see $5 million for the executive director?
No,
That's what sort of brought me up here.
no, that wouldn't be.
That's 5,000.
Okay, 5,000. Okay, maybe I need new glasses, but that's what.
Yeah, that would.
But we still need to really think about what we're saying is affordable, because it's really not affordable, and there needs to be a better word to use. And I'm not blaming you for using the word affordable, because that's the standard, but it's just not affordable. And as a taxpayer out here, we're thinking that's ridiculous to call it affordable, and it's not.
That is correct.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, okay. I wish we would have filled out the slips. I could have been calling your names. Carlos, come on up.
Hello, Carlos Blandon. I think the most problem with affordable housing, why there's not so much competition, is it because we're just focused that all development has to be subsidized housing or affordable. I think the most, and then that creates kind of, I'd say, desegregated sections of city, or red line cities, you can say, sections of cities. Should be more of, the development should be allowed like 90% to be regular development, 10% affordable within that development. Like the top 10 would be like top-notch affordability, mid-tier within that development. So it's a good spread and that spread evenly goes out for the city instead of creating blocks of these sections and polarized communities, you can say. So I think that's a problem because we just focus on big, affordable, subsidized housing instead of mixing it in. And I think that will entice more developers because they can sell it more. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Jane, you had a question? Come on up. Again, Cindy, just put on Carlos, just put down number 11. That way he doesn't have to fill in the slip. Yeah, save paper. There we go.
Cindy, can you put me down too? Please, thank you. Okay, number 1, redlining's illegal. Just wanted to let you know that. I strongly suggest that you guys approve this. 30,000 is a very small amount of money to be part of a larger group that can possibly be advantageous to the city of 29 Palms. And April, did I hear you say the HAP program's coming back?
It never went away.
Yeah, it did.
Well, for our region, Stone, actually, Stone, do you want to sit on the chair?
I'd be happy to. Could I answer that when we're done? Yes, they are coming out with, we're working on HAP 5, and I want to say we just did the bids on HAP 5 or HAP 6. And so the HAP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're still continuing to do that. They're changing shape, and the amount of money is decreasing, but there is HAP funding that's coming into the Morongo Basin through the San Bernardino County Office of Homeless Services and then the Continuum of Care, the COC.
Well, it stopped in 2008.
Okay.
I used to do all the HAP loans out here. So,
Okay.
yeah, so that's great to hear that HAP is coming back because
It may be in a different shape, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I could.
Well,
I'll
it
speak to
helps
that during
with
city manager
subsidized
comments.
housing, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your
Okay.
comments.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. We'll take it back to the council.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say that I actually agree with what everyone said, that this is extremely important as housing is a priority. And I especially want to, I appreciate Mr. Carlos Blandon's comments about we should be looking at various housing options and not just affordable housing.
Sir, may I build on that comment?
Sure.
And so that's one of the things that, so really a way to look at this is I think that there's three types of housing, right, broadly speaking. There would one be market rate housing, which when you have a public home builder or a home builder come out here, they're going to build market rate. And then you've got a type of housing, I like to call it attainably priced housing. And so maybe that's going to be on a smaller lot. Maybe that's going to be a smaller house. And then you've got this subsidized or affordable housing, which requires government subsidies. But, pursuant to the city council's very clear and insistent direction, as staff, we are looking to embrace and support and encourage developers to build all three types of housing. For market rate, which is just what the market will bear, that attainably priced housing, how can we look at creative housing solutions? Again, typically smaller house sizes, smaller lot sizes, and then of course affordable housing or the subsidized housing. So I just hope the community knows that staff is not focused on just affordable, not at all. We're doing our best to welcome all builders, whether it be attached, so like an apartment style or condo, detached. So very thorough about that.
Sure. Are we looking for a motion for if we approve this?
Yes, we're looking for a motion.
I mean, for someone to be on the board as well?
Well, I don't know if they have to do that tonight, but
Okay.
we can but we need to approve this so we can call Monique tomorrow and tell her that we approve this so we can move forward. So when they go to their meeting on May 13th, they're going to move forward on that 1.7 because Ontario already did. So
I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we join the JPA.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second.
And adopt Resolution 2609.
2609, yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Bildering?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott?
Aye.
Mayor Mintz?
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay, number 12, JTNPA work housing on city-owned property.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mayor. So this is one that's actually going to be pretty exciting. And this is, again, this is indicative of the staff's effort and then working with the Joshua Tree National Park Association and that fantastic board and, you know, those professionals there to work on to create an opportunity to create workforce housing. Workforce housing is really kind of another word, can be another word for affordable housing or subsidized housing, but it's really focused on the workforce. And in this case, it is workforce housing that is intentionally created, or will be intentionally created, to support the wonderful people who serve the national park. And so, Ms. Jacqueline, would you like to come up? So we've got a presentation. So Ms. Jacqueline here is head of the Joshua Tree National Park Association. She's the executive director, and we have been working on a potential project that would be on the 17 acres that is located just south of the Theater 29 on the west side of Adobe Road, north of Foothill. So without further ado, I'm going to switch over to that presentation, and Ms. Jacqueline can take it away.
Thank you very much, Dr. James. This one here, thank you. Thank you to the council, Mayor, for allowing us to speak this evening. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues in the audience, Aaron Adams, our board president, Jane Rogers, our park superintendent. Thank you for being here tonight as well. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Well, that might not be a good thing to say, but I prepared a little statement to kind of tee up this project. Every season, the park faces a critical staffing challenge. Qualified, passionate candidates often decline positions or leave early because they cannot find affordable housing, attainable housing, pick your name, nearby. Seasonal hires have been forced to piece together temporary arrangements that sometimes fall through, leading to mid-season departures. Volunteers have withdrawn commitments for the same reason, and many program staff and educators endure long commutes from surrounding communities. These are not isolated incidents. They're ongoing patterns that disrupt program continuity, limit volunteer capacity, and create mission-critical risks for both JTMPA and Joshua Tree National Park. My staff experiences the same issues. And so I've come before you with a project proposal that I'm very excited about. We're the park's nonprofit partner. For those of you who don't know, we operate the visitor centers, education programs, and we also do active fundraising for the park. And there are many projects and positions too. We are seeking city council approval, as Dr. James said, to obtain 2 city-owned parcels off Adobe Road to create this wonderful project. We haven't named it yet, but Joshua Tree Haven is in the top running for the name. We talked about the need. The park continues to experience increased visitation, which leads to a growing demand for staff and volunteers. There's limited housing. And there's also a need for expanded education and community gathering spaces. We do a lot of events for fundraising. We do a lot with TK through 12 students here at Oasis Elementary, and also with adults through our Desert Institute. So this project came to us, I was talking with our superintendent, how can we solve this problem? And so we put this together. We're looking at a multi-use property. It will integrate housing, education, volunteer support, and community gathering spaces. Here are some details. It will include 12 single resident occupancy dwellings, dedicated housing for NPS rangers and park staff. It will include a volunteer village, 25 to 30 tent camping sites, 5 to 10 RV slabs, and it will support educational programming as well. It will serve park volunteers, seasonal and project-based support crews like our Conservation Corps workers, AmeriCorps, etc. And it's a benefit to the city because it provides attainable housing for essential park employees. It reduces pressure on the local rental market, and it frees up housing stock that does exist for residents of the city and their families. So we're also looking at a shared community hub that will offer residents and visitors kitchen facilities, restrooms with showers, a living and gathering space, fostering connection, collaboration, and a sense of community. We want some nice fire pits, maybe, you know, some outdoor gathering spaces. We're proposing an education center that will support Discover J-Tree, and that's the program that works TK through 12 with local school districts. So we'd have a center for the children to gather. And then it would also be available for other community-based educational services. We have other park partners, and they would be able to use the space as well. We could expand local science camps. We don't do overnights at the moment, but we do day camps. We could do that there. Strengthening partnerships with local schools. The event space that we are looking for is an outdoor event space for up to 100 people that would be used for our organizational events, National Park Service programs, and community events and gatherings. This would be open to the community as well. And again, it encourages civic engagement, cultural programming, and community connection. It provides meaningful benefits to the city. Again, it's an economic driver. The park is an economic driver for the city. This would bring staff, volunteers, and visitors into the downtown area. It would increase the use of local businesses and services even more than it already does. It would strengthen 29 Palms' identity as the gateway community to Joshua Tree National Park. And it's a long-term investment. We're here for the long game. We've been around since 1962 and we're not going anywhere. So the project would be built on partnerships with the city, with the National Park Service. Again, we've gotten a lot of input on the housing need and programs and how this space would work from the Park Service. The National Park Foundation is a funding resource. We've already received a planning grant from them for $75,000, and we're going out for a grant for the build for significantly more. We're working with the USC School of Architecture to design the 12 SRO dwellings. Those would be off-grid. And the hub would serve for the electricity, laundry, water, things like that. We're hoping to work with Copper Mountain College Construction Trade School to do construction support there, and the Morongo Unified School District for expanded education access and collaboration. We're also, it's not here, but we're working with ACE, the American Conservation Experience. They will be providing some crews, if this is approved, to do clearing, groundwork, et cetera. And they can stay there while they're doing it, right? Additional partners include Sherry Miller Real Estate, and we have retained Loescher Meacham Architects for design. We've already started some visioning sessions with them. We're prioritizing climate responsive design and efficient land use with the pilot of the 12 tiny homes, which will be entirely off-grid, long-term stewardship of public resources, and of course, the whole place would be aligned with the desert environment. We want the design to fit in and not be a burden, I guess, on the desert. So we respectfully request City Council approval to obtain the parcels and continued collaboration with the city as the project moves into planning and development phases.
Now, you said collaboration. Did you say, did you want to lease the land from us, or did you want us to donate? Just, you're going to lease the land?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you would like to donate it, I would accept
Well,
that
no.
as well.
No.
Sorry.
No, I just wanted to clarify that. It's,
Yes, sir.
no,
Yes,
the leasing
sorry.
land, obviously, yes,
Yes.
that's, okay. And then I was gonna ask you about, now when you're talking about the 25 and 30 tents and the 5 to 10 RV slabs, you're only talking about that still would only be staff, right? That's not gonna be something you're gonna rent out?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. It would be staff. It
Just
would be
still staff.
interns, volunteers, but
Okay.
it's all park related. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that for myself.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to thank the work that the Joshua Tree National Park Conservation Association does, as well as the Joshua Tree National Park. And I just want to emphasize the location is very ideal. The location is the arts and entertainment corridor of this city, boasting art galleries, museums, as well as the 29 Palms Theater. And it sits on a plot of land that is designed to be a future park for our city. And so I feel like this is very in line with what our goals are as a city, and I thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions? All right, we're going to open to the public now. Thank you. Okay, I got open the public hearing. First one I have is Brian
Can I
Benton.
stay here? Yep, okay.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Brian Benton. I live on Desert Dunes here in District 5, I believe it is, in 29 Palms. I came here tonight actually speaking and representing Copper Mountain Community College. I work for the college in the residential construction and maintenance program. And my students, some of whom are in the audience here tonight, came down with me. We took a little bit of a break from hanging some drywall to come down and support Miss Jackie and the Parks Association in this really super exciting project. As Miss Jackie knows, Copper Mountain College is committed to working with the Parks Association and the USC School of Architecture on this project. Everybody here has heard some of the many benefits, right, that she's been preventing for the community, that it would provide for the community. Lots of conversations going on down here about housing, right? And my program is focused on housing equity, right? So kind of grab all of those affordable and subsidized housing concepts. You know, I mean, we focus, and we're a workforce development organization, right? I mean, I'm training the next generation of construction workers in this community. And the opportunity that the Parks Association has offered to the college in my program to participate with something with the weight like the USC School of Architecture and the National Parks Association is really, really exciting. And in addition to what you've seen here, the benefits for our college and the students, specifically the students, to be involved in this project would be pretty significant. MUSD was mentioned in there. I strand students from MUSD's construction program into our CMC program. So potentially high school students that we currently have here could be working on this project. So we came down here to encourage the council to seriously consider this project. And the workforce housing need is real. We experience the same thing at the college, right? We're trying to bring in quality educators, right? These are educational professionals with doctorates and master's degrees that we pay just the same as every other college in Southern California, but a lot of times they can't move their families up here to teach for our school because of housing access issues. So again, please consider this project if it's feasible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Carlos.
Hi, Carlos Blandon. Someone who went through the America program knows that they don't pay you really well. And you kind of grind and try and find ways to make through in the hopes of gaining something out of public service that you provided. With those low salaries, especially those who serve as government employees and in the public service within this interior of our nation, we are sometimes not being tested and treated like kind of like heretics by this administration. And sometimes even before, you know, even the pay salary is still, you know, kind of not to match up. So housing is important because most of the housing that is around here, especially the good infrastructure, is used up by Airbnb or the market that can take it up. So the only long-term ones are available are mostly the people who have bought the property from the 90s back and have not done any infrastructure into it and kind of turn into slum kind of like lands. So these people want to, you know, have places that can feel comfortable when they have a long day's work. So I believe in progressive development, and this is a very good progressive development with a strong note and anchor, just kind of like our council member just said. It's a very good point in our city. So I believe in smart infrastructure, and infrastructure actually brings collaboration and a sense of community. And with that, I saw you had some schematics of the design? I'm guessing they're just rough, not full out yet?
It's not, the design itself hasn't begun.
Okay, good. Because I was concerned about all the golf on the middle of the land. And so I was just like, why not do like an outdoor gym, chess tables, you know, or, you know, mini dog park, because a lot of people, mini dog park for the, worker residents, hydration station, cool down stations, stuff like that. But yeah, I really support this project. Housing is very important for especially the workforce and the public sector. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Bring it back to council. Yeah, that's us. Yeah. Anybody want to discuss?
No, my comments are like, we collaborated over and over with the park and the school over years with Freedom Plaza, the kitchen, the Welcome Center. This is just this is nothing but check marks of greatness going to happen. So what sold me was the USC School of Agriculture. I was in. So
No.
I was automatic.
Fight
I was
on.
for it.
Here we
Just
go.
Fight on, right?
You and your sword.
Excuse me. Go, Chris.
Okay. I'm looking for a motion if we have no other discussion.
I'm going to motion that we, is there a resolution number or just?
There is.
Nope. There is?
There's a recommendation.
Okay.
It should be on the screen.
Oh, it's right in front of me. I'm going to motion that the city council authorize the city manager and the city attorney to work with JTMPA on a land lease to allow for the long-term usage of all or a portion of the 17 plus or minus acres located west of Adobe Road and south of Theater 29. This lease would come back to the city council for final approval along with additional project details prior to execution.
I'll second. I beat you.
No, you did.
No, I'll let Mac have this one. Mac seconded it.
You didn't beat me. Yeah, I got it.
All right. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Bildering,
Enthusiastic eye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz.
All right.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing this to us, and we're looking forward to this moving forward. Thank you. All right. Item 13, council members' use of city letterhead.
Thank you, Mayor. So tonight's agenda item, this is very simple and straightforward, and that is that other cities have identified direction on the use of the city letterhead. Sometimes cities will allow a council member to use the letterhead, and so long as the letter does not state things such as this letter is on the behalf of the entire council, unless the entire council has voted on it. Other cities may have a letterhead that may not have all of the names of the council members on the letterhead, so that if a council member wanted to submit a letter for let's say an award, or for a letter of recommendation for someone's good performance or something like that, they could still do that, and they would be speaking on behalf of the individual, but they would not be speaking on behalf of the council. And so this really just came about in terms of staff asking for clarity on how the council would like to proceed.
Okay, council thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's very important that we do this right because, if there is a mistake, there could be potential FPPC violations. With that said, I am supportive of individual council members having letterheads that are separate than the actual full council.
Yes, it makes sense that, if you're an elected official and if you want to write a letter, that you can say City of Twentynine Palms at the top of it. Again, as the city manager stated, though, that it has to be just their name on it. And that's my opinion. It should just have their name on it and make sure that, obviously whatever they're writing is in their words, not as part of the council or the city.
Representing themselves.
Representing themselves. There you go.
Only
That's what I'm
themselves.
looking for. So
I think the easiest way to do that, I know you guys are going to hate me for saying this, but the individual council member letterhead should probably say the district that they're representing.
That makes sense.
sounds good to me as far as that goes.
Okay, very good.
All right.
I don't
Mac.
think we should have letterheads. And the reason I say that is because in 2023, when I was the mayor, no, 2018, when I was the mayor, I had a mayor's prayer breakfast, and I basically got crucified because we advertised with the city's logo. And cities everywhere have mayor prayer breakfasts, but I got crucified. So I don't think we should have letterheads, individual letterheads. If it's a letter that's coming from any member of the council, then it should be an agreement with at least 3 of us.
Yeah, if it's coming from the city or the council, yes, it has to come from 3 of us, and that's the only way it would be on city letterhead, official city letterhead, but.
What if they want a letter recommendation from a council member, and it's from that individual? I mean, you don't know them, I would know them, so I wrote a letter recommendation for
Yeah,
a scholarship or something.
I've done that before, and what I did was I signed it, council member Wright.
But, I mean, that's, we all, I mean, I think we all do that in the bottom of our thing, District 1, council member,
Yep.
but the letterhead has all our names. So it's not saying it's from all of us, but
And we could have a situation where the letterhead, so you've got, the city logo and the green and the address on the bottom, but then there's not the list of names, and maybe it's just the one individual's name in their district, so that there's clarity in that letterhead that it is, yes, that is, this person is a council member, but it's just from that district, that individual. So
Yeah.
that means we'd have 6 different letterheads, right? One generally, all of them, and then one for each district.
I've seen that done at other levels of government, like the county supervisor. They'll have the logo of the county, but through it it'll say Don Rao, 3rd District Supervisor. So it's unique to that individual person. But I do think that we all should be mindful of when we should be representing the city and when we are doing something that is that might fall along the lines of campaigning. That's why I mentioned the FPPC.
And so maybe a potential suggestion, if I may contribute to the discussion, is that the letterheads kept with city staff, so that city staff can be an additional set of eyes. Certainly not trying to overstep bounds of the city staff, but I know that we, as staff members, we diligently look out for the council and make sure that.
Yeah, because if somebody did that, and it was just on their individual, that would be open to the scrutiny of any kind of, well, it obviously not be if it's written to somebody, it's going to be automatically open to public request. So it would be, if it went, at least with staff had some kind of, I don't want to use the oversight, but at least a little bit of involvement as far as, but if the councilman says, I'm writing this, give me the letter.
Correct.
The letterhead. But I am definitely, it would definitely have to be the rest of our names would not be on there. It would be just the city logo, just the city, Twine Palms, with their name and district on it. So,
Councilmember Wright, if I may. I recently submitted one of our youth groups. I'm trying to keep it a secret because the news doesn't come out till tomorrow, for an award. And the sole reason why this youth group did not get the award with a 100% was because the people that were looking over the awards called me and said, hey, your letter of recommendation needs to be on a city letterhead. And by that point, it was already, I want to say 17 minutes to the deadline. And we weren't in front, all of us, so then it turned into a Brown Act violation, and I think they got docked maybe 11 points. Solely because my letter of recommendation was not on an award, on letterhead. I'm also sorry that happened to you.
okay. Is that all? We can open to the public? Okay, I'll open this to the public. Carlos, you had number 13. Carlos, he left. All right, Carlos left the building. Okay. I always want to say that. What? Like he almost left the building. I don't know. Just not Carlos, not him. Never mind. Never mind. Elliot. Sorry, I didn't mean Carlos. I meant anybody left the building. Okay. I better not read this tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Elliot Balsley. Thank you, City Manager, for bringing this up. I think it's an important thing to develop policy on this. I would encourage the council to adopt a very restrictive policy, allowing letterhead use only for items that have been approved by the whole council. When a council member uses official letterhead, recipients may interpret it as representing the city's position rather than an individual's opinion. This can inappropriately add weight to personal advocacy, which can be an ethics violation. If a council member promises funding for a project that hasn't been fully approved, then you may have a problem and a potential lawsuit when you don't pay. If you write a letter of support for some sort of private development, the recipient may feel pressure to approve it because they perceive it as the city's official stance. There are already laws prohibiting this kind of thing, like the Brown Act and others, but it's not very specific. The law can be interpreted. So if each council member interprets it differently, the city is exposed to legal risks if you make a mistake and accidentally use the letterhead when, overstepping when you shouldn't. There's also potential administrative confusion if staff receive letters from city council. They're uncertain whether to honor requests because they don't know if it's an actual council directive or not. So with all of these risks, I think the safest course is to just make the acceptable use policy very narrow. If council members want to write personal letters, they're of course free to do so, but they don't need to be using city letterhead to do that. And if you think my idea goes too far, then at the very least, you can require clear wording in the letter to state that this does not represent the views of the city.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mary Jane, come on up. I don't know why I just did that.
Cindy, will you add that to mine, please? Thank you. Just a suggestion that if you decide to do that, to do letters without the council on it, why put a person's name because they're going to sign it? And they could sign their name with the district and just use the insignia of the city. It would save on costs for future in case somebody doesn't happen to get reelected. You wouldn't be having names on paper that's not being used.
So it would just be you're talking about just doing the blank letterhead and then but also they'd have to, okay.
Yeah,
I see what
so
you're
they
saying.
just, blank, just with the insignia, and then they would sign their name with their district, where you normally sign your name.
Okay, thank you.
May I add something to that, Mayor?
Sure.
So one of the things the city has done as a cost-saving measure, and Cindy, please correct me if I'm wrong, but right now, as far as I know, the letterhead is digital. And so it would be a digital change. And then what staff then does is they put the digital images on a Word document, type it out, and it prints it out. But there's not the situation. That's an understandable concern. Okay. So maybe in this case, if it was individual, so it certainly could have nothing. Staff totally supports that. But if there was going to be like District 1, District 2, District 3, then that would just be digital. Right? And so then when they want that, it's digital is put on the top and the bottom.
We don't need to write a bunch
Yeah.
bunch of letterhead for.
No.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and finish the public hearing. Anybody else from the public? Okay, we can close the public hearing. Well, kind of what I'm hearing is maybe then we just have the letterhead and there's a disclaimer in the letter, and I guess it really doesn't have to have their name. I mean, we can just have, and they have to write a disclaimer saying this is definitely from the individual council member, not the views of the city or the city council. But I also like the idea of at least, if, staff at least looks at what's being written so that it's, they look at it, they see it, it's going to be recorded. I mean, so at least we leave the, so if it's a public request, if somebody said, I want to know how many letters they wrote out, they can just go, yeah. Oh, you type them out anyways. Okay. So I don't know, does that sound reasonable? That
Yes, it does.
it's,
You bet.
that doesn't have our individual names on it, just has the letterhead. But there is a disclaimer on there saying that this is not the opinion of the city council or the city as represents the city.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's a happy medium.
Majority rules. I'm still not for it, but majority
Okay.
rules.
Well, we did ask questions of other cities. Some cities allow this, some cities absolutely do not allow it. So it's kind of let we decide what we want to do. There were some big cities, or some big cities say no. Other cities says, yeah, as long as it has a disclaimer on it and it has it, just make sure it's noted that it's only from that individual council member. So, okay. So do we need to vote on this then? Oh, okay. So I guess, do we have a consensus that we're okay with letterhead? We have our name on the bottom, but it also has a disclaimer on it, and staff is obviously in the loop. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, Mac. Okay, we have them all. Okay. All right. Future council initiated items. Do we have any future initiated items? Whoever has an initiated item.
First one, I have quite a few today. So first one, I'd like to discuss code enforcement compliance with Prop 36 and find a pathway to meeting the new guidance issued by Governor Gavin Newsom.
You gonna keep going?
That's it.
Second.
Code enforcement and compliance with Prop 36 and find a pathway to meeting the new guidance issued by Governor Gavin Newsom.
Second, yeah.
Next item is going to be, give me 1 second, would be to discuss, have a discussion about the annexation of parcel 063405124 and 063405109, also known as Set Free Ranch.
Isn't that in the county?
Second.
Could you repeat those parcel numbers for me, please?
Yes, sir. It is 063405124 and 063405109.
And I second that.
And Councilwoman Ramirez, the last three digits on the first one, I have 0634051. And did you say 214? What 124? What did you
Yes,
s-
correct.
Okay, 124.
124, yes, sir.
Thank you.
And the last one, give me 1 second, I'm going to pull this up. The last one would be, E-Group has advised the city it has revised its project to meet AB 205 criteria, and based on that, a desire exists to discuss this matter further.
No second.
Thank you.
Okay. Is that it from everybody? Oh, my goodness. All right, we're into the public comment section of ours. Okay. First one is Mark Spangenberg. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm thinking softball still. All right, thank you, Mac, for reminding me of that. Public comments. This is the time for the public to address the city council on issues within the jurisdiction of the city council. It is not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the city council and shall not be consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to remain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. This is a limited time of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out the name, address slips and give them to the city clerk. The city council is prohibited by state law from taking action on discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on a specific agenda item to be deferred until considered on the item on the agenda, which we already passed. Okay, Mark Spangenberg, you're first.
Yes, I'm Mark Spangenberg, and I'm representing the Twin Palms Art Gallery. And just to let
Hold
you
on.
know,
Hey, Mark. What was that? Oh, no, it was you, Mary Jane? Oh, no. Security. All right, go ahead, Mark. Your timer starts again.
okay, I'm representing Twin Palms Art Gallery, and just to inform you, we're having our and this is Mayor Mintz and City Council and citizens. We're having our 75th anniversary of the gallery. We're the oldest gallery in the Morongo Basin, all the way down, and we're the best, and we have the best receptions. If you haven't been there, you gotta go. And it's a great artwork. And this is, May 2nd, 5 to 8 p.m. There is a fee. I mean, you have to pay to get in because we've got music, we're having refreshments, dancing, everything. And, come by and join us and, make new friends and see some great artwork. Anyway, if I could have permission to have our city clerk, I can give those to the city council, please. Anyway, thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thanks, Mark. Stacy Smith.
My name is Stacy Smith. I'm a teacher at Palm Vista Elementary School. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you all as well as the public is that our current superintendent is letting other schools know that Palm Vista is on the chopping block and that will be closed down. One of the things that I wanted to say is I've been to your lovely city on 2 different occasions. My husband was in the military, and we started our Marine Corps career here, and he retired here. I've been a teacher for a very long time, 5 years at Palm Vista, and I found my place. Nobody had ever said to me, no, we like your energy. We like that you're loud. We like that you're opinionated. We like that you think outside the box. And my first year at Palm Vista, I realized that Morongo Unified School District thought of us as the nothing place. Teachers who couldn't make it came to our school. Kids that couldn't make it came to our school. And in the last 5 years, we've gone from, in my opinion, the dumping ground to a shining star. And a few things that came out tonight, which I found very interesting, is that we're right there by where Joshua Tree National wants to place their area. My other information is that I believe that our local Indian tribe is also wanting to put housing there. And if we're not there, then how are we going to interact with those communities? I would also like you to know that our superintendent is making, his package is $500,000. We have, 5 or 6 assistant superintendents. And I haven't heard one word about the district taking any cuts. They want to cut our instructional aides down to 3.5 so that they don't have to, they won't be able to get medical coverage. They want to cut our nurse techs down. My first year at Palm Vista, I had 35 students in my room. 5-6 combo, 12 of which were special ed. I now have 33 students in my room, 4-5 combo. Half a dozen special education students. And I don't know if anybody knows that our superintendent is saying that Palm Vista's closing. I didn't know that. Does anybody know that they're considering taking our 5th graders and putting them at the junior high? Anybody know that? The school, that's my 3 minutes.
Thank
Can
you.
I make one last statement? The school here in 29 Palms, especially right there at Palm Vista, is the center of the community.
Thank you.
And if we close it, we're doing a disservice to the community.
Thank you. Elizabeth Rodriguez. Elizabeth Rodriguez.
Very good. Hi, good evening. I'm also from Palm Vista. I'm the Dean of Students. And we are here tonight because we have a duty to inform you that what is happening, Morongo Unified School District has an enrollment committee. And this process has been ongoing since February. I attend all the meetings. And it started as an exercise to look at surplus property. It has evolved to include potential school closures as well. The most recent meeting was last Thursday, and they presented 5 scenarios, and in those, 2 of them, Palm Vista closes. However, the panel's job is to create a report, to present it to the board. It's up to the board to make that decision. We don't know the timeline or if or when this may take place. However, if it does, Palm Vista is slated to close after next school year. I want to inform the town and the public that it's very important that we have people to come to the board meetings as well as the enrollment committee panel meetings. The next board meeting is next Tuesday on the 21st. It is at 6 p.m. It is at the new Joshua Tree Elementary School in their MPR. So it's not the old school. You got to go all the way down Sunburst. You can't miss it. It's on the left. Go around the corner. The next enrollment committee panel meeting is on the 29th of this month, also at 6 p.m. This is at the old Joshua Tree Elementary School, the one on the hill that's kind of boarded up. I would suggest if you want to go to that, get there a little bit early because the room they hold it in is quite small, and if it's standing room only, they will put you in an overflow room. So if you want to be in the room where it happens, get there a little early. But again, we're just coming to you as a duty to inform and make sure the city knows what is happening and make sure the public knows what's happening so that they can have their input on this matter. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we
Leanne, go ahead.
And we will continue to inform you.
Thank you. Leanne Clark, who I forgot earlier. Sorry.
Thank you. A few things from Action 29 Palms and the 29 Palms Ministerial Association. The Kaplinger mural re-signing and plaque dedication held on March 25th. Action 29 Palms and the PAC, along with Rafael DeFabo, would like to thank everyone for attending what we will call the Giant Lizard mural re-signing and steel sculpture 29 exclamation point plaque dedication held on March 25th at the Edward Jones Building. It was a great turnout on a rather warm day. We also want to thank Mayor Mintz for presenting the 29 plaque to artist Chuck Kaplinger and for the City Council and staff coming out to attend the event, as well as past mayors, as well as the Rotary and many other service organizations. We also want to thank the Public Works for dropping off the mobile 29 at the site, as well as Rob Fleck, financial advisor with Edward Jones, providing refreshments. The mural was given a clear coat the night before by Larry Lucas to protect it and give a wonderful shimmer. And the event was a tremendous success, and we are thankful to the community and all the speakers and all the donors to our public art for being a part of this historical event. The Good Friday Crosswalk, Good Friday community service held on April 3rd. The Ministerial Association would like to thank Set Free Church for hosting the crosswalk, along with thanking Pastor TK and Jerry Washington for allowing us to host the service at Gospel Fellowship Christian Center Church. The monies raised was $254.25, and that went to Reach Out Morongo Basin. And we also want to thank Set Free Church for providing the boxed lunches that were made available to the attendees. Easter Sunrise Service held on April 5th. Again, we want to thank the community for coming out. It was held originally on April 21st, 1935, so this was the 91st sunrise service held in the city of 29 Palms. And so we want to also thank city staff member Jonas Childs for all his help with setting up the sound system for the event. And we also want to thank all the speakers. The offering donated by everyone was $558.35 and was presented to Morongo Basin Arch. And also we have the National Day of Prayer coming up on Thursday, May 7th, 7 a.m. and noon at here at Veterans Park and 6:30 p.m. at Gospel Fellowship Christian Center Church. And we just want to thank you. And also, on behalf of the 29 Palms Ministerial Association, Stone, we want to thank you for your service to our community. We understand you're going to be moving on in a couple of months. So thank you again for all that you've done for us, coming out to our events, supporting our community, and we greatly appreciate you and your family. God bless you all.
Thank you. Mary Jane, you're up again.
Well, I want to tell you, I'm really sorry about Palm Vista because we're third generation Palm Vista. My daughter, her daughter, and my grandkids. I'll fight for you. Okay. All right, Mary Jane Bingy. And I don't know if, when we had the sewer issue going on here, I don't know if you guys had money allocated to do research and whatever. I don't know anything about that. But I just read this, and it says this is from Congressman Jay Bernalty. I was pleased to secure funding for San Bernardino County to support Phase 1 of the Joshua Tree Septic to Sewer project. This funding will advance critical pre-construction efforts, including project scoping, district formation, and planning and design for a future centralized sewer system in the Joshua Tree community. Once completed, this project will allow residents and businesses to transition from septic systems to a modern sewer system, helping reduce groundwater contamination and improve public health outcomes. So, Joshua Tree is going to get a septic or sewer system before 29 Palms? I don't get it. So if Obernolte, if he's got money to give, why can't we get in there and do research or whatever we need to do this for our community? We know business isn't going to come here without some sort of sewer system. Major projects aren't going to come here without some sort of sewer system. So for our advancement, maybe we ought to get a hold of Obernolte and see if we can't get some money. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Leonard? Leonard, okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Eric Linner, and I live in Yucca Valley. I'm here tonight to introduce myself and the Basin Bike Path, a desert routes initiative focused on making the Morongo Basin safer and more connected for non-vehicular travel, especially for pedestrians and cyclists. Our long-term vision is to connect the Morongo Basin with a multi-use path from Yucca Valley to 29 Palms with the potential to loop through the national park. We recognize this is an ambitious goal that will require coordination across multiple jurisdictions and government entities. But we also know it's achievable. A strong model already exists in the Coachella Valley, where a 40-mile regional trail connects Palm Springs to Coachella. We understand this will happen in phases, and that's why we're especially encouraged to see the city of 29 Palms already advancing efforts like the Channel-wide Trail. That project aligns closely with concepts being discussed in Yucca Valley and with the county, utilizing flood control corridors to create safe, connected pathways, similar to both your work and the CV Link. I'd welcome the opportunity to connect with city staff and explore how we can collaborate and support one another across the basin. Our effort is gaining momentum locally, and I'm excited to announce even at the state level, where I've been invited by the leading California Bicycle Coalition, CalBike, to attend the 2026 California Bicycle Summit in Sacramento next week. The summit is CalBike's biennial gathering to share ideas and work toward more equitable and sustainable communities. So again, this is just an introduction, and I look forward to working together moving forward. If anyone is curious about the Basin Bike Path, you can learn more at basinbikepath.com, and we're also active on social media. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Victor Lewis.
I'm just here to speak out against the flock cameras. I don't feel the need to go over the security risks they present, as many people here before have gone over them over and over, and as far as I know, there still hasn't been any action on that to even bring it into discussion. So, yeah, just trying to keep that at the forefront and requesting any kind of movement on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Shanice? There she is.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Shanice Risper, and I serve as the Community Outreach Director for the HOPE Project. I'm here representing not only our organization, but the hundreds of families we serve weekly through our Feed the Need program. And tonight, earlier today, as we were speaking, we were doing our weekly giveaway. And I'm also speaking on behalf of one of our key community partners and donors, eGroup. Feed the Need exists for one simple reason: people are hurting and food insecurity is real right here in our city. We serve an average of 700 plus families each month, representing over 1,500 individuals, children, parents, seniors, and veterans. These aren't just statistics, these are our neighbors. These are our families doing their best, but still needing support. Every week, it takes 25 dedicated volunteers, a couple of drivers to make this happen. We receive food through USDA and Find Food Bank. We make 2 to 3 trips each month to Indio to pick up additional food supplies, including pickups from Copper Mountain College. This is how we ensure that food continues to reach the families who depend on us. And I want to be transparent about our current challenge we're facing. Our truck, the one and only one that we have to pick up food from Indio, is currently in the shop for repairs. In order to continue serving our community without interruption, we now are renting a U-Haul truck each week to meet the need. That comes with a cost: fuel costs, rental costs, operational costs, and the cost of picking up and transporting food from Indio. This is the reality behind what it takes to feed our city. We're doing everything we can, but the truth is we are in desperate need of a refrigerated truck to sustain and grow this outreach. And we don't stop at food. On the fourth Tuesday of each month, the whole project also provides diapers and baby wipes to families in need. We serve an average of 20 plus families and about 30 children, helping parents who are already stretched thin to cover one of the most essential and often overlooked expenses. This is what community looks like, and this is why partnerships matter. eGroup believed in the vision. They didn't just talk about community, they invested in it. They contributed $4,000 directly to Feed the Need, which falls under the HOPE Project, not a church organization, but a community outreach nonprofit, which helps continue to serve families week after week. Even in the middle of challenges like the one we're facing right now, they also committed $3,600 towards our upcoming Color Run, an initiative designed to bring our community together while raising even more funds to sustain and expand this outreach. That's over $7,600 poured directly into this community, into your constituents. And what makes this even more powerful is this investment came from a company not even based in our city. Yet they saw the value of what's happening here and chose to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Heather H.
Notes on a city council meeting, March 23rd, 26. Wow, the last meeting sure was a long one, and I say that as someone fairly new to city council meetings. In fact, I'm not usually one to bother with the system because I don't believe in the game of representative politics anymore. It's basically Santa Claus in my book. So I come here for my comrades, who I do believe in, and I will never stop talking about the well-documented dangers created by mass surveillance weaponry in a country getting ready to crash in a fiery blaze of glory. As we've previously noted, you all rubber-stamped Flock with no serious public engagement, because you know, law and order, it's the only thing government in this country ever guarantees. They create the problems and then sell you the solutions, folks. It's how we built all our systems, it seems, which is no surprise since they were built for control under the language of prosperity for all. And it was quite clear last month that if the people hadn't done their own due diligence and shown up, we'd sooner be dealing with dead turtles, valley fever, and a big mess making a lot of money for a bunch of suits and maybe one church or landowner. But the people spoke again and again, and most of council finally agreed, It was a nice short-term win, which is important sometimes to keep the people believing in the system. But sadly, people in power always seem to prove they can't be trusted with power. And it turns out things are no different here in little old 29 Palms. What's worse than people in power winning? People in power losing. You see, it makes them angry, and then they have to find a way to remind themselves and other people of their power. First, they find someone to blame and lash out, and if that doesn't go their way, they'll resort to all kinds of underhanded things, like trying to get that someone fired in a hush-hush, behind-the-scenes kind of way. It's predictable, like clockwork almost, how power corrupts, and in the case I just described, a direct violation of the First Amendment, which states that we have the right to publicly express our opinions without censorship, interference, restraint, or retaliation. Letterhead or no letterhead, I smell a clear-cut case of retaliation. As a council who just last session voiced concern over what a lawsuit could do to this town, will you do anything about this revelation? Because this is exactly the kind of behavior that would find a way to utilize flock for its own ill intentions. You see, where power always goes wrong is when it assumes that my voice is worth less than any one of yours. It assumes the one who got the title must know best. I find the one who gets the title is usually just louder and willing to step on a few toes. Because somewhere along the line, polite society decided that's how it wanted things to work. And from our tiny town to the White House, it certainly explains the circumstances that we all find ourselves in today. So let me be clear, no one, no matter who, will successfully silence any one of my comrades, and no one will silence me. We keep us safe. Anyway, can y'all believe it's April already? All power to the people.
Thank you. Well, that's all the slips that I have. Okay. Okay, yes? Sure. Just please fill out a slip, though, when you're done. Thank you.
I've taught at every single elementary school throughout this district, and Palm Vista is definitely a special place. I don't even know what more to say than that, but it is a special place, and it should be protected with everything that we have. It is the center of that area of our community, and it is not like any other elementary in this district.
Thank you. I need a kid. You got a slip? Yeah. Okay. Come on up. What did I miss?
He spoke on item 12.
Oh, he did check public comment.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. I put you at the bottom. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to bring up, over the weekend, I observed some disturbing comments on social media from Councilmember Ramirez regarding the Geneva solar project. These comments conflict with the public record that has been presented at the recent meetings. She says, the fact is, I have inside knowledge that the project was already approved before it even went to the city. That's a pretty strong statement with no evidence of any kind. And this worries me, because if you have inside knowledge that you're not sharing with the council, but you're using it to make your own decisions, I mean, that's not how government should work. To share information like this in social media is basically just a rumor. Like, if this is real, it needs to be, shared publicly and on the record. And then she also goes on to say that she received hundreds of letters in support of the solar project, as well as 2 separate petitions in support of the solar project, which just doesn't make sense with what I saw in this room a few weeks ago. There was, a lot of people opposed to the solar project and a handful in favor. But so I'd like to see where are these hundreds of letters and petitions. I mean, yeah, this is just concerning.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I did get several others. Cindy got them from, one was from the business Fish Alicious. Sylvester and Denise Cullum, they were talking about the e-solar, that they were in favor of it. Then we also got one to myself and the city council members from Suzanne Lyons, pointing out some of the discrepancies in the e-solar a petition to the state, and then we got something from the Twentynine Palms Creative Center, and that was about basically that was about they were in favor of the JT MPA work housing, and the joint power considered us to say yes, and just a concern about the downtown septic, and that was about it on that one. And then this one is from Peter Lang, basically saying about the e-solar. Okay, that's about it. That's all I got from those. And I guess after, what is it, 2:07, or is it 7:07, people will be able to remotely talk about this. If they don't want to come to a meeting, you'll be able to talk on the TV, or you won't have to just send a letter or something. Yeah, pretty soon we'll be high tech. Okay, well, that's it for all of those. And then now we got the city manager update.
Great, well, thank you, Mayor. I will make this brief. I've got 3 things that I thought I'd share with the community. First is the online survey for the sales tax measure. This flyer was sent out to all of the voters within the city. I want to say just over 5,000, maybe it was 5,500. And really what this does is it just talks a little bit about the survey that is being conducted. And ultimately there is a letter here that talks about just a little bit of history on the city. And what it talks about, there is just one paragraph I thought I'd call out. It says, however, we talk about recent city accomplishments, identify some important things that the city has achieved and continues to achieve on an ongoing basis. But one of the things it talks about is that even with fiscally prudent practices, the city is challenged to maintain current service levels due to rising costs. Protecting and maintaining our quality of life is a key priority. Accordingly, we want to reach out to you directly in order to elevate the conversation within our community before decisions to reduce service levels are made. And so this is in the context of the sales tax measure. And so there is a survey. There are these forms that are located in the back table in the lobby there. Please feel free to take one if you did not get one in the mail. And then there is a website address, and there's also a QR code that you can use your smartphone to scan so that you can log on and you can share, hey, if this sales tax measure were to be voted in by the community, what are some of the priorities? What are some of the things that are important to you? So I think that is an important survey, and I know that myself and I believe the council would be very appreciative of as many people taking that survey as possible. And then the other thing I wanted to acknowledge is just the great work that we've got. Some of the community members have come together and they've done this Levitt grant, and we had the first event the other weekend. We've got another event coming up on April 11th. Again, this is a free musical kind of series, and so this is going to be on April 11th.
Wait, April 11th is past.
April 18th.
18th, okay. I was like,
April 25th.
What?
And May 2nd. I did not realize that. That's what happens when you're traveling for work and training, and up since 4 a.m. So April 18th, April 25th, and May 2nd, and these begin at 6 p.m. At Freedom Plaza. It opens up. The live music is from 7 to 9 p.m. So again, Freedom Plaza, April 18th, April 25th, May 2nd, and if you've been up since 4 a.m., April 11th. Right. And so there is that. And then also, I just wanted to update the City Council and the community on the April 4th community cleanup, which staff in partnership with Burtech had put together. That is an event that happens twice a year, and we had 220 community members take part of that. They were able to bring in yard waste, green waste, electric waste, papers that needed to be shredded, metal that they needed to get rid of. It was just a wonderful opportunity to clean up the community, because the more that we can clean up our yards, the more our property values go up. Also, one of the things that I thought I'd just take a moment and to remind everyone is that if you have a single-family detached house, as a part of your Burtech contract that you already have, you are allowed to have 4 separate bulky item pickups per year. And so they will come out with you call them up, and it typically takes them about a week to respond. And they'll come out with a special type of truck with a lift gate. And if you've got a couple of items, I know I recently had some fence posts, and I put out maybe 8 fence posts, and they came and they took all of them, took it in the truck and took it away. And so you've got that for free, right? So if you've got an old dishwasher or washer dryer or whatever that's broken down, they'll take that and they'll do it for free. And again, you can do that 4 times a year. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I don't know if I can ask, but is that electronic waste as well, like e-waste, or is that specific?
I think this is bulky items. You know, so the things that you would need a pickup truck or a trailer to. That's right, yes. Yeah, I would imagine that would be it. So that would likely work. So anyway, so they just wanted to make everyone aware that we're already paying for it, and it sure would be a shame to have something and not use it and then lose that. So every year you have 4 separate call-outs, and that is all I've got.
Thank you.
Real quick about, you said twice a year for.
4 times a year.
No, for the city, when you take
Oh,
the
yes,
stuff to
ma'am.
the city, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's April, and then when is, do you know when it is again?
October.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we are ready to adjourn to closed session. Closed session. A closed session of the city council may be held in accordance with state law, which it may include but not limited to following types of items: personal matters, labor negotiations, security matters, providing instruction to real property negotiations, and conference with legal counsel regarding pending litigation. The closed session will be held at the City Hall Conference Room located at 6136 Adobe Road, Twentynine Palms, California. Any public comment on closed session will be taken before the closed session. Any required announcement. We're not done with the meeting, but if you guys want to leave, it's okay. But I have to read this, and then we have to take a closed session. Discussion. Okay. Announcements or discussion of the closed session item or actions following the closed session will be made in the city chambers right here at 6136 Adobe Road, Twentynine Palms, California. So I am opening the closed session right now for public comment. Does anybody want to make a public comment on our closed session item, which is closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, Public Employment, Title, City Manager? No comments? Okay. Okay, now you can talk and go.